Welcome to the Florida Roundtable, a part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee. With advertising everywhere in today's high-tech, super-connected world, it can be hard for honest advertisers to break through the noise. It can also be hard for consumers to know which advertising they can trust. Well, there is one organization that has been around for over a century, connecting honest businesses with honest consumers. That organization is the Better Business Bureau. And coming up next, I speak with the CEO and president of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida on how they are still helping businesses and consumers. But first, I will update some of the top stories from around the state of Florida this week. So stay put. Another edition of the Florida Roundtable begins here in just a moment.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real healthcare for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable healthcare for you and your family immediately and save as much as 50% off your current monthly healthcare payments. Our plans are perfect for people that are self-employed, can't afford health benefits where they work, or just want to pay less for their current healthcare. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. We even offer some of the new Christian faith-based health benefits. Save up to 50% on your family's health care. Make a free quick call now. There are no contracts, and we give you a 10-day money-back trial period. Call Provision Enrollment right now for your risk-free, guaranteed health insurance quote starting at $6 a day.
800-398-0651. 800-398-0651. That's 800-398-0651.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-522-3893, 800-522-3893.
Are you retired? Got time in your hands to get away? Call YMT Vacations now for great values on land and cruise trips to Alaska, Europe, Hawaii, and more. Plus, save now with our $250 per person discount and low price guarantee. Call for free info.
800-213-9256. 800-213-9256. 800-213-9256. That's 800-213-9256.
Welcome back to the Florida Roundtable, a part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee, and coming up in just a moment, I'm going to interview the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida on how they help honest consumers connect with honest businesses. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But I did want to first start with updating some of the top stories from around the state of Florida this week. Those involved with a conference in Miami-Dade County are downplaying a controversial pro-Trump video. The video shown to supporters at Trump National Doral shows a likeness of President Trump shooting media members and political opponents. The creator of a pro-Trump website says the video is clearly satire and not a call to action. The organizer of the event where the video was shown tells the South Florida Sun-Sentinel the video was unauthorized and was confined to a side room at the conference. A Panhandle congressman believes the behavior of Democrats shows the impeachment inquiry is just a charade. That's right, Republican Matt Gaetz was removed from a closed-door hearing earlier this week where House committee members were interviewing a former White House aide. Gaetz isn't on the committee, but he thinks he should have been allowed to attend because he sits on the Judiciary Committee, which is in charge of the impeachment hearings. Gaetz tweeted this impeachment is more of a coup and the inquiry is a hoax. Now, another story here out of Washington. Because of our withdrawal from Syria, we are significantly worse off now. That's what Marco Rubio tweeted this week about President Trump's decision to pull U.S. troops out of Syria. Senator Rubio says he understands why some think it's better to let Turkey and the Kurds deal with Syria, but there are broader repercussions. Those repercussions include emboldening Russia and Iran and weakening Israel. Now, I have a story here about our other Florida Senator, Rick Scott. And Senator Rick Scott is among those calling out LeBron James, the basketball player, for his comments on China. The Lakers star said earlier this week that Houston GM Daryl Morey's tweet in support of Hong Kong's protesters hurt people financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Senator Scott tweeted, "It's sad to see James joining the chorus kowtowing to communist China and putting profits over human rights." James also said the GM wasn't educated about the issue. But Senator Rick Scott, says James is clearly the one who isn't educated on the situation. Now, I have another story here out of St. Augustine. Experts in St. Johns County agree there's one key to understanding and addressing mental health needs in children. A panel discussion was held earlier this week in St. Augustine at First Coast Technical College. More than 200 professionals discuss how to diagnose and treat mental health issues in children. Flagler Health behavioral expert Valerie tells The Record she'd like to see more free screenings because early intervention is crucial. Now, I have a story here out of Broward County. Parents of those killed in the Parkland school shooting are united for a common goal. They gathered last week to urge the state Senate not to reinstate Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel. The special master recommended reinstating Israel, but one parent who lost his son in the shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School says no one believes it's a good idea to bring Israel back. The state Senate will review the special master's report this week. Now, I have some good news here out of Jacksonville. A Jacksonville woman may be proof of a scientific breakthrough in the fight against breast cancer. Lee Merker was diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer 6 months ago, but she's already cured thanks to an experimental vaccine. A doctor at the Mayo Clinic where Lee received her treatment says the vaccine eliminated the tumor and seems to have strengthened her immune system. Now, Lee tells Orlando's Fox 35 she feels like she walked on the moon, and she looks forward to the vaccine being one day widely available. So who knows, there might be a cure out there for breast cancer that might be available soon. I'm going to be speaking with the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida, Holly Salmons, next on this edition of the Florida Roundtable.
It's happening to you every night. One snores, and the other can't sleep. It seems like there's no end to it. But now there's a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snorestop. Try it risk-free today. Snorestop was created and tested by a team of physicians and has been helping couples sleep for over 20 years. It is the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. Snorestop sprays or tablets are now available nationwide. All you have to do is call. It's time to try Snorestop and make every night a better night for both of you. Don't wait. Try Snorestop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. spray or tablets. Call right now for free shipping and your 100% risk-free trial offer. 800-960-4918. 800-960-4918. 800-960-4918. That's 800-960-4918.
In a world of tiny tomatoes and backyard pests, one man and his better half dig deep to save backyard gardens.
Joni, stand by to upload expert videos.
Already loaded, Tom.
Wow, you're good.
You're not so bad yourself.
Tom and Joni McCubbin star in hisandhersgardening.com. Critics rave.
Tom and Joni, they really grow on you. 2 green thumbs up.
Don't miss hisandhersgardening.com.
In 2018, more than 1,100 people were seriously injured in hit-and-run crashes, and almost 200 were left to die. If you're in a crash, Florida law requires you to remain at the scene and to call for help. Leaving the scene is a felony, and the penalties are serious. You will lose your license for at least 3 years, and you could end up in prison. After a crash, stay at the scene, call for assistance, and wait for first responders to arrive. A message from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles.
And welcome back to the Florida Roundtable, a part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee. In this super connected world, we see advertisements all over the place. Sometimes it can be hard to go through them and know which businesses are honest. Well, there's one organization that has been helping out with that for over a century, and that is the Better Business Bureau. And right now, I'm speaking with the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida, Holly Salmons. So I wanted to start first by letting you give a little bit of your background, how you got involved with the Better Business Bureau.
So the funny story is that, and it's 100% true, graduating from the University of Tennessee, go Vols, and journalism, public relations degree, and I was dead set on moving to Atlanta. And so back in my day, we faxed our resumes and we faxed information on ourselves. Don't look at me so confused. So I'm faxing my resume out, sending it to an Atlanta PR firm, which was an area code 404. I accidentally dialed 407. And that was Orlando, Florida. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I got a call. I played along and showed up for the interview, and I was hired on the spot. And I got back in my car, and I thought, well, crap. Now I'm in trouble. My mom's going to kill me. So I moved to Florida and worked here in Altamont Springs for Better Business Bureau. And that's how I came to Central Florida. That's how I came to Better Business Bureau. And, the rest, as they say, is history.
And were you ever involved with the Better Business Bureau before that?
No.
So it was a learning experience for you.
Yeah, it was a real learning experience. I had worked in nonprofit before. And so the concept of, not being in it necessarily to get rich or not being in it to really bank profit, that concept was familiar to me. And doing it for kind of a social good was familiar to me and something that appealed to me. But as far as who Better Business Bureau is and what they stand for and what they do, it was a learning experience. But it has Better Business Bureau has so many facets that 17 years later I'm still learning.
No, exactly, and they've been around for a long time, from what I understand. I mean, how long has the Better Business Bureau been around?
Since 1912.
Wow, so more than a century.
Yeah. So, we started back in 1912 as a result of deceptive advertising practices, snake oil salesmen and things like that, elixirs and things.
Yeah, literally back then.
Yeah.
Snake oil salesman.
Yeah. So, actually our roots in advertising review and our roots in calling out substandard behavior remains, to this day. Back then, that was the role that we played to help consumers kind of understand, what was, and I don't even think the word scam was what they used, but, the false promises and things of these different elixirs and, remedies and things.
Yeah.
And we're still doing that same thing today. I mean, on a weekly basis, Better Business Bureau is calling out substandard behavior of medical remedies and diet medications and things like that. So we're still pretty consistent back to our roots.
So what you're saying is some things just don't change, and you're always going to need the Better Business Bureau or something like it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's too good to be true, I'm not even going to say it probably is. If it sounds too good to be true, it is, and that's been consistent since 1912.
So a lot of what you do is actually helping out businesses as well.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. How do you do that?
So especially when a business is new and they need kind of a leg up or they need help getting started. As a new business, Better Business Bureau's standards can help a new business understand kind of what the proper foundation for their business should be. You need to respond to your consumers' complaints. You need to be responsive. You need to be transparent. You need to be properly licensed. There can be really expensive mistakes that a business owner can make in the early days. And we helped new businesses try to avoid that. For us, it really isn't about memberships and bringing businesses in for dues purposes. It's about investing in our marketplace, and the more quality, ethical businesses we have here in Central Florida, the more happy consumers we will have spending money. And that really becomes a very cyclical process where consumers are spending money, you have more successful businesses. And we really believe that by helping draw that line between quality businesses and those businesses who are, substandard, who are not doing things the right way, that we're playing, a necessary and a valuable role here in our community.
And I can imagine that in this high-tech world, there's a lot more for you to do in that realm because there's a lot more ways to get scammed, basically.
Yeah, and there are just a lot more ways, I think, now for consumers to be misled. There are a lot more resources for businesses, but at the same time, for businesses or business owners who are not trying to be, ethical and transparent, there are a lot of ways now that they can pull that off. Back in the day when you drove to a business, or you actually went face to face to have the contract conversation or to get an estimate face to face as opposed to online. You drove to their location, you parked in their parking lot, you went into their office, you were able to read their body language, things like that. Now that we're doing so much online, consumers can really be misled, from the get-go. Businesses may not disclose that they're using a mail drop address, that they don't, that the address that they're offering you is not a physical location, if that's important to you. There could be a license number on their website, and if you don't do your homework, that may not even be their license. It may not be a valid license.
They just made up a number.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
consumers have to really, they have to do their homework, and we hope that we can serve kind of in that middle space where we can't expect consumers to know how to find every license. We can't expect consumers to become an expert. If they need a roof, if they need new flooring, if they need their transmission fixed, these are things that you don't do on such a frequent basis that you become an expert in it. So we hope that we can serve kind of in that middle space where we can help consumers do their homework. We can help them, know who at least is licensed, who is responding to consumer complaints, what type of complaints are they having, understanding how a business talks to their customers can be really helpful for you as a consumer to understand or to kind of predict what kind of experience you might have down the road.
I'm speaking with Holly Salmons. She is the president of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. And you were just discussing how you inform consumers about what the businesses are up to. Let's say a business wants that Better Business Bureau, that BBB seal,
right,
on their business. What are your standards, and how can a business make that happen?
So what's interesting, if we said yes to every business who was interested in becoming an accredited business, back in the day we called it membership, now it's accreditation. So an accredited business, a BBB member, those are kind of one and the same. If we said yes to everyone who wanted it, the logo that you see driving around town would mean nothing.
Right.
The vetting process that accredited businesses have to go through on the front end, and then as we go along every year, we're making sure that yes, they were properly licensed when they became accredited, but that's not where our work stops. We have to continue to make sure that the business remains properly licensed. Are they continuing to respond to their complaints? Is there a troubling pattern developing in their complaints? What are their customers saying in their customer reviews? Is the company responding in a timely manner? Things like that. So it's not just about, paying your dues. And that's one thing that it's interesting. A lot of the businesses who are not eligible for accreditation, or we've told them no, or they've been revoked, are the ones out in the community most vocal about accreditation and most vocal about saying it's just about paying the $400 per year, or they're just in it for the money. look, if I was just in it for the money, or if Better Business Bureau was just in it for the dues, we wouldn't have close to 5,000 accredited businesses. I could have, 30 or 40,000 accredited businesses. So it really is about those businesses who meet our standards first, who maintain our standards, and then you can pay dues. We have to put it in that order, because if I allow businesses to become accredited and remain accredited who aren't representing the brand well, it won't mean anything to consumers anymore, and it won't mean anything to other businesses who are accredited. I will be, diminishing the value of their accreditation by allowing people who don't deserve it to become accredited. So it's certainly something we take very seriously, and our board reviews on a monthly basis that list of businesses who have been suspended and who are being recommended for revocation, because we have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You had just mentioned that sometimes you revoke the accreditation. I'm guessing that an organization that only cared about getting the dues money, I don't think they would be doing that. I figure if you're trying to keep standards, you have to revoke sometimes, and you might lose money in the process, but that's to keep up with your standards.
Yeah, it's if we don't continue to invest in our own standards and continue to uphold them, again, it makes accreditation not as valuable for all the other quality businesses. And it also would then mean less to consumers. We want to make sure that when a consumer sees an accredited business logo, now I will say this, there are businesses who ride around town with accredited business logos that may have expired, or their accreditation was revoked, or they moved into the office space and the accredited business seal was already on the door. So what I will tell consumers is, while we definitely do our best to police that sort of thing, if you see a business who is using the accredited business seal, double check with BBB, give us a call, visit us online at bbb.org just to make sure that designation is still legit. But it is really important to us that we continue that brand standard, because again, we've been around for over 100 years. But if we stray from our standards for the sake of revenue, or for the sake of making money or collecting dues, there's no way we'll make it another 100 years. We have to stand on those standards.
And I am talking with Holly Simmons. She is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. And we'll talk more about this in a moment on this edition of the Florida Roundtable.
Yeah, Mike didn't tell me where he was taking the boat today, and I really didn't think anything about it.
I saw that he was having trouble with his engine, but, I didn't really think anything about it.
I didn't see Mike wearing a life jacket. I just didn't think about it.
I miss my dad a lot. I think about him every day.
Always think about how to boat safely, because on the water, complacency kills. Don't let a chain of events drag you down, and always wear a life jacket. Visit myfwc.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go, and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Hi, Darcy the Cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. Most good gardeners know how to get great results: sun, water, and fertilizer, along with the right soil. Cow manure is the best way to condition the soil. Black Cow is all natural, and it's the best fertilizer, with 10 times more manure and 10 times more nutrients than the other guys. Pick up the bright yellow bag today.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
In 2018, more than 1,100 people were seriously injured in hit-and-run crashes, and almost 200 were left to die. If you're in a crash, Florida law requires you to remain at the scene and to call for help. Leaving the scene is a felony, and the penalties are serious. You will lose your license for at least 3 years, and you could end up in prison. After a crash, stay at the scene, call for assistance, and wait for first responders to arrive. A message from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles.
Jesus regularly made bold, radical statements that shocked and even angered people. But the one statement that created the most controversy was saying that he is the way to God in heaven. Jesus did not say he is a way, but the one and only way. Even today, this statement is offensive. Why? Well, for many who believe in God, the idea that there's only one way to God is ludicrous. They believe there are many paths to God. But Jesus is clear. There's only one way to God, and that's through Him. So why believe Him? In rising from the dead, His resurrection is God's exclamation point that what His Son says is the truth. Jesus' statement is very exclusive, yet wonderfully inclusive, and that this way is open to everyone. Which way do you choose? This is Bryant Wright, speaking right from my heart.
Visit rightfromtheheart.org and click About Us to learn more about this non-denominational ministry.
It's happening to you every night. One snores, and the other can't sleep. It seems like there's no end to it. But now there's a quick and easy-to-use solution, a natural solution. Snorestop. Try it risk-free today. Snorestop was created and tested by a team of physicians and has been helping couples sleep for over 20 years. It is the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. Snorestop sprays or tablets are now available nationwide. All you have to do is call. It's time to try Snorestop and make every night a better night for both of you. Don't wait. Try Snorestop, the #1 selling anti-snoring medicine in the U.S. spray or tablets. Call right now for free shipping and your 100% risk-free trial offer. 800-960-4918. 800-960-4918. 800-960-4918. That's 800-960-4918.
Welcome back to the Florida Roundtable, part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee, and I've been speaking with the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida, Holly Salmons. She actually is joining me in studio today. We've been discussing a little bit of what the Better Business Bureau does, how they help businesses and consumers. And Holly, what's interesting about the Better Business Bureau as well is it's self-regulation.
Right.
You know, it's different than being a part of the government and the government passing legislation to get businesses to behave well.
Right.
This is much more beyond that.
Yeah, Better Business Bureau was founded on self-regulation, and it's still the cornerstone of what we do today. Unlike statutes, Florida statutes, the Attorney General's office, the FTC, things like that. We're not coming to shut you down. And regardless of what consumers may hope or assume about what it is that we do, we're not in the business of shutting businesses down. We don't, go in with a badge and make you.
You don't have a BBB badge that you flash to people?
No, not even as hard as my Vice President David Wheeler. He has a collection of little plastic badges in his office, and every once in a while he'll float it. He'll be, what about this for a badge? And I'm like, you're not getting a badge.
Nice.
But self-regulation is really important to what we do. And, we, as I said, snake oil salesmen and things like that back in the 1900s. And we still see the same thing with medical remedies, supplements that are too good to be true. And where the self-regulation comes in, for example, would be, let's say, media outlets, TV stations, radio stations. They have to really decide, who are they willing to take on as advertisers? Is the claim too good to be true? Are they offering to cure a disease with a supplement that's not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration? Are they making claims that they're going to change your life with the supplement or this remedy? These media outlets have to decide, how are they going to regulate themselves? Are they going to regulate themselves? Because if there's not a hard and fast rule, we have to depend on these industries to self-regulate. Now, if consumers, let's say, for example, an industry, let's say roofing industry, there are laws and statutes and licensing that govern that industry. But there are also things that are allowed by, the letter of the law. They are allowed, but they still may not be ethical. And if you do that, there's a little bit of self-regulation that has to happen within the industry where they determine for themselves, for their industry, what's okay and what's not okay. And there becomes a really clear divide between, yes, that's how we do business, or no, we don't do it that way, even though it's technically legal. And that's when you see business owners start to use those air quotes. It's legal to do this, but it's not always ethical. So that self-regulation is still very important. Another industry that depends on self-regulation, for example, would be electronic gaming. You see in electronic gaming, certainly it's not a law that says that they have to note on the packaging or note in their gaming whether there's mature or violent content, things like that.
Oh, so that's not regulated by law at all. That's something they choose to do.
That's a self-regulation. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
And so there are industries that hold themselves accountable. And they hold themselves accountable because they know it makes them better. And that's kind of the role we play, is through self-regulation and through reputation management and responding to your complaints. Is reputation management, if ever there was, such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you respond to your complaints, if you respond to your complaints in a timely manner, things like that, you're governing yourself, right? If you don't respond to your complaints, we're not going to come shut you down. That's not what we do. Your rating will be affected, but in the end, we're allowing you to self-regulate yourself and understanding. And what happens is these industries start to kind of hold each other accountable, because believe me, there are companies in our database where we can see their incoming traffic, their incoming web traffic to their business profile, and it's their competitors using their report against them. And so if you don't respond to your complaints, if you allow your rating to slip, self-regulation, you've not maintained your regulation of your own business. And so what happens is, within your own industry, your competitors will start to use that against you. And so, is that ethical? You have to decide that for yourself. It's
competition in business, yeah.
That's competition. And if you don't want your reputation sullied by complaints, by your competitors, then you have to take matters into your own hands. And that's really what self-regulation is all about. So we are absolutely there to counsel businesses and to help them. Whether you're an accredited business or not, if you receive your first complaint, let's say, for example, you receive your first complaint and you really don't know where to start, give us a call. Come by the office. Let us help you understand the process. Let us help you with your response to the consumer. Certainly, we have business owners all the time who, they're real hotheads and they want to respond in all caps and they want to respond by calling names and things like that. And it's like, look, this is not going to play well for you.
Right.
In the court of public opinion, when your future consumers read this complaint and then they read how you responded, the complaint is going to take a back seat to the way you handled yourself. And so as a consumer, I might not be so concerned about the nature of your complaint as I am concerned about the way you handled it. So again, that it's all a totally voluntary process. You don't have to respond to your complaints, but that also sends a loud message.
It reminds me when I used to work at Checkers many years ago, the fast food restaurant, and if someone had a really bad complaint, sometimes we'd give them like a free apple pie. Didn't have to do that, but we did it because
you want them to walk away happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't want them to be unhappy.
Yeah, I spoke recently to a group to a swimming pool trade association, and so it's a room full of people who own or run swimming pool businesses, whether they were contractors or repair, maintenance, you name it. And I acknowledged, and they agreed, and we all kind of acknowledged that it's funny, and I think people don't understand this, but in the swimming pool industry, we see complaints all the time from consumers who have spent 60, 70 grand on a swimming pool. And they are not complaining to Better Business Bureau about their swimming pool, about the $70,000 investment. They're going to complain about the fact that you trampled their bushes, or they're going to complain that you left trash in the side yard. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to really govern yourself, set standards for your own business, and make sure that your employees know what sort of standards you're going to adhere to, whether it's mandatory or not in your industry. You know, certainly licensing in the pool industry says nothing about whether or not you're leaving cigarette butts in the yard. It says nothing about if you tear up the sod, you should replace it, things like that. But it comes back to self-regulation and how am I going to run my business? Regulation, licensing doesn't say anything about how you communicate with your customers. Again, you have to decide for yourself as a business and understand within your own industry what's expected of you, because at the end of the day, the standards you set for yourself are going to be what you either succeed or die by.
We only have a couple of minutes left in this segment, but I did want to point out what you just said, that you are willing to inform even businesses that aren't accredited and they can contact you. Go ahead and give the website again.
BBB.org. We talk to businesses every day who are not accredited, who are miles away from being accredited, ever being eligible. But it's in our best interest and it's in the business's best interest if you understand the process, if you are giving access to responding to complaints. And that's really what we're in it for. We want to make sure the process works.
And you're the president of the Central Florida office, but there are offices all over the state.
Yeah, we have 5 BBB headquarter offices in the state of Florida with a few additional branch locations. So from the entire state of Florida is covered by BBBs. We all work really well together. There are several times during the year that we work on campaigns together about licensing, contractors, things like that, hurricane season, of course. But the interesting thing is, whether you call our office here in Central Florida or you call an office in West Palm Beach, we will be able to help you regardless of where you call. So if you're visiting the Orlando area and you live in Miami-Dade, stop by our office, give us a call. We'll be able to help you no matter where you are. If you're a snowbird and you have questions about your home in Michigan, Better Business Bureaus work really closely together across North America. We're happy to help you with that as well.
And I'm speaking right now with Holly Salmons. She is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida, talking about the Better Business Bureau, but also about self-regulation and great advice for businesses that want to keep their business to a higher standard. You are listening to the Florida Roundtable, and I'm Michael Yaffee.
Have you written a book? You can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their book to the market. Our professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, our authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books, like Amazon and brick-and-mortar bookstores. So make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Don't wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author and seeing your name in print. You've already written a book, so the next thing to do is make this free call right now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
800-485-6003. 800-485-6003. That's 800-485-6003.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-582-7585.
If you don't dispose of the unused or expired prescription drugs in your home, they might find a new one. They could end up lost, stolen, or simply misused. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. At the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, October 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. To find a collection site, please visit deatakeback.com. That's deatakeback.com.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Florida Roundtable, which is a part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee. It's a high-tech, super connected world out there, and it can be hard for consumers to know who to trust, to know if they can trust certain advertisements out there, trust certain businesses that they might see, that they might pass by while they're driving down the road. How can they sift through all of this? Well, we're talking with Holly Salmons right now. She is the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. And Holly, you have a lot of experience with this, obviously, working with the Better Business Bureau, which deals a lot with businesses, but also works a lot on informing consumers.
Yeah. And, you know, what's interesting, a lot of businesses just assume that we are in place to receive complaints. And that's really not true. Believe me, we would rather educate consumers on the front end so that they spend the money once, so that they choose a quality provider, they choose an ethical business that they're going to be happy with the first time. We would be happy if they never needed to file a complaint. But the fact is, sometimes that happens, and so we are there for them. But what we encourage consumers is to do your homework. You know, if you're thinking about signing a contract, if you're thinking about making a large purchase, do your homework on the front end. If you're not sure how to do that homework, contact Better Business Bureau. You can go to bbb.org. You can contact your local office. The advantage to contacting BBB, which is totally free for consumers, is that across North America, there are real people who can help you with your dilemma, who can help you with your homework, with your fact checking. You want to make sure that you're checking to make sure that the company that you're considering doing business with is properly licensed. Is their license up to date? Are there complaints against their license? Do they have complaints with Better Business Bureau? If they do, how many? How frequently do those complaints come in? What's the nature of the complaints? You know, sometimes we find that businesses jump to the assumption that if they have any complaints, consumers are going to write them off and they're not going to want to do business with them. And so they get really upset with Better Business Bureau for receiving those complaints. But the fact is, the fact that your company has complaints isn't the nail in the coffin. The nail in the coffin is whether or not you respond and how you respond.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like any company would get complaints every once in a while.
Yeah, oftentimes it's just the price of doing business. But the thing is, another thing that BBB pays attention to is patterns. So if you're in the business of landscaping and you have a number of complaints all related to the very same exact issue, that's a pattern that you're not paying attention to, right? So that's something we bring to the business's attention. But let's say, for example, going back to the swimming pool example, let's say, for example, you're having a swimming pool put in and it's a new construction home. And so you don't have grass yet. Those complaints about sod being torn up aren't going to bother you because I don't even have grass yet, right? So I have a dirt lot. That doesn't bother me. However, if I go look at this company's complaints and they have complaints about the office staff being rude, not returning messages, or there's a complaint about sod and the business owner or the representative responds to that complaint in all caps, name calling, and really that sets the tone for how the business is handling their customers. And so, consumers are savvy enough to sift through complaints and know what's important to them and what's not important to them. But what we really counsel businesses on is the way you respond is important. The fact that you respond is also extremely important. But for consumers, doing your homework on the front end can save you so much hassle because way too often we hear from consumers after the fact. We hear from consumers after they've signed the contract, after they've spent the money, and then they come to us and they find out that the business has an F rating for doing exactly what the consumer is having a problem with. And it's like, we wish that you had come to us first so that we could have helped you with the research. We also encourage consumers to get multiple estimates. The reason you get multiple estimates isn't just so that you can find the lowest cost. And in fact, we find that consumers don't always go with the lowest price and usually won't. Usually they'll go with the business that they feel most comfortable with, who answers the questions that are important to the consumer. And through the process of getting multiple estimates, consumers figure out what's important to them. You figure out, is it important to me that the contractor's truck is kept meticulously clean and that his toolbox is sorted and neat and things like that? If you're someone like me, I pay attention to those sort of things because the way the contractor keeps his vehicle, their supplies, the way that their employees represent themselves, to me, in my experience as a consumer, also says something about their attention to detail in their work. So these are things that we encourage consumers to pay attention to first, because once you're in a situation where it's time to file a complaint, oftentimes you've already paid the money. We also remind consumers, especially around the holiday season when they may be doing more spending, certainly to be careful of how and where you do your spending. If you're using a credit card, if you're using a debit card, things like that, pay close attention. Is the site that you're visiting a legitimate site, or does it just look like the big box store? If you're not sure, if you clicked on a link or if you clicked on a digital ad that pulled you over to the site and they're selling you something that's at a cost that's too good to be true, step back. If you don't feel qualified to do the research, again, call BBB. Let us help you before you send the money, before you take that leap of faith, because once you spend the money, sometimes it's too late.
And earlier you mentioned how sometimes they'll call you and you'll have to tell them, oh, this business has an F rating.
Yeah.
I wish you would have called me, ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I think some people might wonder, how does your grade system actually work?
Yeah. So the ratings are based on a number of things. One of them is, how long has the business been in operation? How long have they been in business? If a company is brand spanking new, it's really difficult for us to say to consumers, how are they going to do business? How stable is this business going to be? How likely is it that they're going to deliver on promises? So how long you've been in business is one of the parts of the equation. The complaints. Let's say, for example, you're a small business, but you do 6 jobs a year that are high dollar jobs. Okay, if you do 6 jobs a year and you have 3 complaints, that is going to heavily affect your rating because, when you're looking at the ratios, that's 50% of your jobs are complaining. So that's going to negatively affect your rating, as opposed to if you do, thousands and tens of thousands of jobs a year or have that many consumers a year and you have a few complaints, that's not going to as harshly affect your rating. And then, of course, you need to respond.
And if people want to find out more about this, they can go to your website.
Yeah, bbb.org. And you can just, Google BBB and your local city and find the office closest to you. Again, real people here to help you. But our website is pretty comprehensive, and so hopefully it can meet your needs.
Yeah, and they help consumers and businesses. Ollie Simmons, President, CEO of the Central Florida, the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a closing thought in a moment on this edition of the Florida Roundtable.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-522-3893, 800-522-3893.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-707-9709. 800-707-9709. That's 800-707-9709.
Every time I see another instance of senseless murder, terrorism, and rioting, I'm filled with sadness. Will this hatred and division ever end? Sadly, on this earth, it will not. Only when Christ returns will there finally be harmony among all mankind. What a glorious day that'll be. In the meantime, how do we respond to the blatant hatred and racism in our nation? The first step is asking God to identify any pride and prejudices in our own heart. Racism is rooted in pride, and the danger is just how quickly it can take root in our lives. The Apostle John put it simply: whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. In order to be a part of the solution, we need to ask God to align our hearts and our minds with His. In a world filled with hate and anger, following and loving Jesus is the best place to start real change. This is Bryant Wright, speaking right from my heart.
In a world of tiny tomatoes and backyard pests, one man and his better half dig deep to save backyard gardens.
Joni, stand by to upload expert videos.
Already loaded, Tom.
Wow, you're good.
You're not so bad yourself.
Tom and Joni McCubbin star in hisandhersgardening.com. Critics rave.
Tom and Joni, they really grow on you. 2 green thumbs up.
Don't miss hisandhersgardening.com.
Hi, Darcy the cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. Most good gardeners know how to get great results: sun, water, and fertilizer, along with the right soil. Cow manure is the best way to condition the soil. Black Cow is all natural, and it's the best fertilizer, with 10 times more manure and 10 times more nutrients than the other guys. Pick up the bright yellow bag today.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
And welcome back once again to the Florida Roundtable, which is a part of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Network. I'm Michael Yaffee, and that was a really great conversation I had with Holly Salmons, who's the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. Gave us a lot of needed advice, really, if you're a business owner or a consumer. And if you want to find out more information on them, or if you want to do your homework on a certain business, what you can do is go to their website, bbb.org. Lots of great stuff on there for you to see. If you miss any of the show, make sure you catch the podcast on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere podcasts are available. But the best way is get it on the iHeartRadio app. Just download the iHeartRadio app and search Florida Roundtable, and it'll be right there for you. I also host my own shows. You can catch PM Orlando. I host Monday through Friday in Orlando. That's also on the iHeartRadio app. Or my show I do once a week, Beyond Reason Radio, or just follow me on Twitter at PMOWFLA, or just search Michael Yaffee. Appreciate y'all listening to the Florida Roundtable, and I'll be back next week for another edition of the Florida Roundtable.
You've been listening to the Florida Roundtable, a news and public affairs presentation of the Florida News Network. The views and opinions expressed during this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station's management, ownership, or sponsors. Please email your comments to Michael Yaffee at fnnonline.net.